Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Look a little bit different than they did last year. They graduated a couple big pieces to their game, but they still have a good core of scorers back and a good athletic group. After the snow day and all the weather and stuff like that, right now we got to refocus on it, lock it back in, focus on the basketball for what we need to do, and focus on the challenge ahead.
We just got to attack them defensively. We've done a good job of getting more deflections this year, just scooping those up, and then push and transition. We've got some guys that can really run, and we want to do that going forward.
Yeah, I don't think you bank on all that. That's where you get into trouble. Guys are pretty resilient. You get yourself ready, and let's do that. I don't really care what goes on out here. We're not having a snowball fight.
I don't think you guys would mistake me for a cold weather body, but I'm really excited to go do that with the team because it's a mindset thing that you do together. You have to choose for it to be as minimal an issue as possible.
You want to peak at the right time. I think this football team, we've still got our best ball to play, but we're trending in the right direction. We're very fortunate to be playing another game. There's a lot of teams that aren't in the playoffs, a lot of guys that are not practicing today. So this is a very inspired group right now.
It's just football. Just be yourself is what they always tell me. So I've played in playoff games before, big games, and the less that you put pressure on yourself, then I feel like the more you just execute and do your job, then that's when good things happen.
An excellent opportunity that we prepared ourselves and we put ourselves in this position, and we earned it, deserved it, and most importantly, we're going to take advantage of it.
Fun to see some of the people that I haven't seen in a while that I know are still around the building, and obviously it'll be a different scenario. I won't be wearing their colors, but still appreciate so many of the people there that gave me my start in this league and took care of me for 12 years too.
Two Eagles star players, quarterback Jalen Hurts and receiver A.J. Brown, have injuries to monitor. Hurts dislocated the middle finger on his throwing hand against the New York Giants on Sunday and only threw one pass during the portion of practice open to reporters.
They identified Gerard Mayo as the person they wanted to ultimately succeed Bill Belichick. His leadership, they know him well. They believe he's a special developer, and they feel he's the right coach for this moment.
Welcome on into Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. It's another day of me hosting. It's Aaron Clark filling in for Steve Webster. We got Mike Corson across from me along with Landon Winkler. We've had kind of a skeleton crew this whole week, the fill-in boys, but excited to be here with you guys on the final day of the week. Fellas, how we doing?
I expect to see Landon there next week.
He's going to be taking over the top spot. Hesh is going to have to bring some more sports analysis to the sounds of the past 24 hours when he's on, because Landon's holding it down over there, bringing the hardball stuff.
I can't wait to hear his preview of the NFL playoffs.
Absolutely.
It was a fluke, but don't worry, because Winter Jam's going to be next week. So
Hesh is going to be busy. We're going to have more Landon. It's going to be fun. Going to get a lot of the Landon breakdowns. We've got a great show heading your way. We've got some assistant coaches from Barton. Not quite sure. I believe it should be Two Rivers. But also after them, we'll have Connor Nickel of Sunflower Sports Solutions talking high school basketball along with some high school wrestling. Always fun getting to talk to Connor. A wealth of knowledge and just can go on and on and on. It's kind of fun getting to listen to him.
Yeah, fun fact, I was at Ellis last night. TMP was playing. Guess who the assistant coach is? I did not know. Connor Nickel.
I had no idea. It'll be kind of fun to see if he saw you. He mentioned seeing you or not. Maybe he has some ideas about when you're there. That means it's a big game. If Mike Corson shows up, that's how you know it's a big one.
Well, I thought it was until I got home and looked at the records. Oops.
We'll hear more from that one on with Connor later. But first, we'll get into our sounds of the past 24 hours or so, along with our sports headlines. Would like to remind everyone that Sports Day today is brought to you in part by the Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country, as well as by Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor and shop local when you can. Moving into our sounds of the past 24 hours, starting it off, you heard from a head coach of the Great Bend Lady Panthers, Cindy Beck. Coach Beck talking about how with all the wacky weather, we've had a snow day this week and then brutally cold today. Coach Beck just wants to see her squad lock in, play the way she knows they're capable of, play the way they did last Friday when the Lady Panthers were able to pick up a 44-34 victory over Garden City on the road. Tonight, they welcome in Hutch. Excited to see what they can do in that matchup.
Yeah, a lot of people consider Hayes the rivalry. I've kind of thought it's been Hutch the last few years, and so it'll be curious. I think Great Bend's probably got the upper hand, but yeah, the coaches are in that position where what is the weather going to do? How far south is it going to go? Are we going to play? So not only do you have the snow day, you have kind of the worry of what's going to happen Thursday, Friday.
Absolutely. And you kind of hit on it there, Hutch. They've lost some girls here this past year. I believe graduated 4 of the 5 starters from this last year's class. So going to be a little bit of a new look. Still a talented squad. The Lady Salthawks sitting at 4-2 this year. Great Bend, though, they're 6-2. They've got some momentum rolling. When the Lady Panthers, they get Sadie Spray going, how she was against Garden City. They get Emily Hall. 5, I want to say, straight games, scoring double-digit figures. When Emily's mid-range game is hitting, it makes her very tough to defend. The Lady Panthers really just need one other person to step up any given night, and they have a pretty good shot at putting up a win. Not to mention some of the gals who do stuff that don't appear in the scoring column. A gal like Mackenzie Premer, who's getting 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals a night. Also, Jillian Reimer does a lot of setting the floor for the Panthers, setting teammates up in excellent position. Going to be fun to see them tonight.
Yeah, I heard Ms. Suna say that same thing earlier this week. You get 2 in double figures, that's 20, 30 points. You figure 50, 55 points in a girls' basketball game, so get some 6, 7, 8s in there, and Lady Panthers be looking good.
Panther boys will also be back on the hardwood tonight as they'll be looking to get back in the win column. Last week suffering a 57-56 loss in Garden City to the Buffalo. Going to be a new opportunity for Great Bend. You heard sophomore forward Ian Premer talking about how he wants to see him get in transition. Both Panther teams have been able to use transition to their advantage this year, and the Panther boys, they get out, they run a little bit. They're capable of throwing down some dunks. We've seen Ian Premer finish off a couple of nice ones, but multiple Panthers are capable of finishing at the rim like that, whether it's a dunk from Premer or a layup from Hall, a little jump shot, mid-range pull-up from Maddox Spray, whoever's shooting the ball. A lot of good shooters in Great Bend. One place they've struggled, though, free throw line. Coach Krieg going to want to see that number increase. They're shooting about 50% from the stripe right now, a little bit under that mark. Going to want to see that improve here as we head into 2024.
And I haven't seen the numbers, but you got 2 losses, 1 in overtime to a ranked team and 1 by 1 point. So, yeah, free throws are obviously going to play a role. And would we say Hutch was ranked coming into this one, or was it the girls?
I
saw the Panthers dropped a couple spots.
Panthers dropped a couple
spots.
Ranked. Still ranked. Are they at 9?
8 or 9.
8 or 9. And then I can't remember if it was the Hutch boys or girls. We'll have more confirmation on that at the end of the show. But keeping it, chopping it in our Sounds of the Past 24 Hours. If you want to tune in to listen to the Panthers game tonight rather than getting out into the cold, you can listen on B1043 The Point. I'll have your pregame starting at 5:45 for the Lady Panthers with the Panther boys to follow. Moving along in our Sounds of the Past 24 Hours, you heard from head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid. He says, well, they're not going to be having a snowball fight, but he's not quite so sure. A lot of people have been talking about how, the Dolphins, their aerial attack, they're going to struggle coming to the cold in Kansas City. Chiefs, their offense hasn't looked great all year. They've struggled with drops. That's something that I feel gets accentuated in the postseason if you've had drops in the regular year. I don't know. The cold not going to be helping Kansas City as much. Plus, probably going to be knocking away some of that Arrowhead Field, a home field advantage. Got to figure you're not going to have quite as many people there when the wind chill is knocking it down to about -25.
Yeah, dear Andy, it's tough to pack a snowball when the kickoff is they're setting it for -3, -23 wind chill now, and it won't really deteriorate throughout the evening, but when you're starting at -3, nowhere else to go. But yeah, Andy would know about throwing snowballs out in Philly.
Well, absolutely he would. And the snowballs they're going to be throwing in Kansas City, those ones are going to hurt.
They're going to be ice.
Yeah, it's ice balls. That's not snowballs. It's -3 degrees. Like, that's
that
going to be
cold powder
frozen.
does not pack.
I've taken one or two of those frozen ice balls to the back of the head. I'll tell you what, it's not a great feeling.
That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah, right. That just knocked something loose and knocked a football screw into place. They also heard from head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. So kind of funny. Not going to mistake him for a cold weather body necessarily, but his offense, it's been humming. I'm excited to see how it does translate into some cold weather. Not going to be able to maybe stretch the field as vertically as the Dolphins has so far this year. See what Mike McDaniel can do to come up, scheme his playmakers into open areas.
Yeah, and I actually like him, but the memes about him on the internet are really mean. But he's a lightweight. He's a little bit slow moving. Kind of strikes you as a lizard who would rather be perched up on a rock getting some sun. But you've been on the sideline. I know the NFL is going to have top-tier heating. How fast can a player warm up, especially the extremities, versus me going out and standing there? It takes about 10 minutes and I'm done.
See, and especially when you're going into you come off the field and you're hot. Like, it's never, when you're playing, there's not a whole lot of times where you're like, oh, man, I'm out here, I'm on the field, I'm in my 8th play of the drive, and I'm shivering out here. That typically doesn't happen. I'll tell you when it gets rough, when, I was an offensive lineman, and so when the defense is on the field and the opposing team just keeps picking up third downs. It's like, oh, all right, it's a third down defense. We're going to get a stop, and they get it by 1 yard. And so it's like, all right, and now we're going to stand here. They get to a third down again, and they convert. And just as long of a drive as you can possibly muster, you end up standing on the sideline for a little bit. That's when you have to stay warm, stay loose, stay limber. You see some of the big boys just hitting each other. When I was younger and I'd see the people on the same team like hitting each other's pads, it kind of confused me because, like, well, doesn't that kind of hurt? I completely get it. In cold weather especially, you need your pads kind of reset when it gets too cold. Get one of your big buddies there, punch you in the chest, get them reset for you.
And I'm thinking the cold could completely immobilize people, but if they're on the sideline for, say, Chiefs turn to Pacheco or something, is Tyreek Hill going to be able to warm up under some propane or a big jacket, and will he be as mobile? Because that's going to be a key to the game, that high-flying offense, well, it's precipitated on Tyreek Hill. So hopefully the cold will kind of immobilize him, and Kansas City can use that ground attack.
Absolutely, and the health of the Dolphins roster are going to be a big conversation piece for this game going forward. Not only do you have some people confirmed out, some defensive front guys like Andrew Van Ginkel, he went out last week. He was actually filling in for Bradley Chubb, star pass rusher who went down earlier this year, and then Jalen Phillips. 3 edge players, the top 3 edge rushers that the Dolphins employ, not going to be active for this game. Might not be as big of a deal, might not be passing as much, so run defense might play more of a role. However, going to be important to watch the Miami playmakers on offense. Jalen Waddle, he did not play the final 2 games of the regular season. He did practice this Tuesday, though. It's looking like he might be playing.
Let's just talk. It's cold weather. He waddles like a penguin. He's been saving it. So maybe he'll get 1, but let's not have more than 1.
He knew it was going to happen. If you give up 1 touchdown in this game, though, it might be too much. I'm not putting a very high over. We can get your over under. What are you setting the line at?
I nailed Vegas at 56, so 22.5.
Right, I was gonna say like 3 scores almost seems like that's a pretty good line. I'll give you that one because I don't know.
We'll check it out in the break and try to.
We'll have to see what that is. Moving into our playoff preview for the NFL, you heard from the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Bills, they're getting ready to host the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kind of a tale of 2 teams who made the playoffs there. The Bills, they were looking pretty rough in early December, looking like they might not make it. They win 5 of their last 6, including 3 games over the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Miami Dolphins. Impressive wins there for the Bills. The Steelers, on the other hand, they were kind of controlling their own destiny. If they were able to win out against some weak teams, some teams like the Chargers, the Patriots, they could have controlled their own destiny and made the playoffs a little more convincingly. Steelers struggled. They limp into the playoffs here. It's not going to be – not expecting too much from the Steelers here. They're a 10-point – or Bills are 10-point favorites over Pittsburgh this week in Buffalo.
I still like that the Bills won, and so Miami has to come to Kansas City. I'd rather see Miami in the cold than kind of a Pittsburgh team that's known for being tough, grinding things out, and I don't think that would have worked to Kansas City's advantage. So up there, I believe it's going to be super cold as well, so we'll see how effective Allen is, but obviously he'll be the difference.
It's actually a little bit of a while Kansas City is going to be blazing or a blistering cold, I don't think they're expected to get any more precipitation. Up in Buffalo, they're expecting potentially 7 inches of snow to fall in the next 24 hours. They've got blizzard warnings up in Erie County. That's where Buffalo is. That's where the Orchard Stadium is for the Bills. This could turn into another classic snow bowl there in Buffalo. We've seen a few of them the past couple of years. I don't know. It could be another one that the NFL, they're not going to move it. They've already said they're not moving the game. So if there's 7 inches of snow, Bills and Steelers, they'll be going.
No, I think it's great for football to have the outdoor stadiums up north, and now those teams are doing well, so we get the weather games because everything's been kind of desensitized moving indoors when turf. It's fun to see the weather.
And one of the biggest stadium stories that have come out recently this year is the Buffalo Bills. They're looking to build a new stadium, not going to have it be domed. It's still going to be an outdoor stadium there in upstate New York. They like it. They like having that kind of mantra, that kind of mentality that, yeah, we play in the snow. We're northern New York. You have to come to us and play in our weather. It gives them the advantage.
Come on, Minnesota.
Yeah, right. They've got a pretty nice U.S. Bank of America stadium there. You also heard in our Sounds of the Past 24 Hours from C.J. Stroud, the rookie quarterback for the Houston Texans, leading them to a division championship in his rookie year, along with rookie head coach DeMeco Ryans. Stroud, they'll be facing off against the Cleveland Browns. Nice little bit of the Deshaun Watson Bowl, some controversy there. And Watson, he won't even be playing. Still injured this year, but the Browns have rallied behind former Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco. Flacco, I believe he's the winningest coach in the current Browns stadium all time. Just you add on about 16 wins from when he was a Raven to I think 3 he has here with Cleveland now. He's got 19 wins in that stadium, and he's been playing like it's 2011, 2012, back when he got that big contract extension from the Ravens. He was coming off of a Super Bowl MVP that year against the 49ers. I don't know. Flacco's been looking very good. It's going to be a tough test, though. This Ravens defense is no joke. They've got guys performing at all levels. Kyle Hamilton, one of my favorite players this year, the strong safety they drafted at 14 last year.
Yeah, never was a Flacco fan, but now that he's a little older and kind of an underdog, a little bit more fun to root for, but will not go for Cleveland with what they did to Baker and when they brought in Deshaun. But you look at the Texans, and the Colts probably should have beat them. It was kind of a drop pass or a missed throw there. So, but C.J. Stroud is kind of maybe the future of the league, so I would expect maybe them to get by this one.
I think that's fair. I think Texans have a good chance. The Cleveland defense is very good. It's going to be interesting to see how C.J. Stroud reacts to some of the pressure that Myles Garrett is going to be able to put up there. Also, just a dominant defense all over for them. They've got some players all over the field. A tough task for C.J. Stroud. And like I mentioned, first-year head coach DeMeco Ryans coming over from the San Francisco 49ers. He was their defensive coordinator. He's got that defense clicking extremely well. Excited to see what Houston can do this year in the playoffs. Rolling right along, though, you heard from head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy. He gets a pretty fun reunion this year as the Green Bay Packers, his former team, come to town. They'll be playing in the Jerry Dome. Going to be excited to see if the Packers can't keep some of this late-season momentum. Jordan Love looking like the next Green Bay quarterback of the future. That game kicking off on Sunday at 3:30.
Yeah, just because it's in Dallas indoors, they've exceeded there all year. I'd say they're easy favorites. Had it been in Green Bay, completely picking against the Cowboys.
They don't do well on the road. Oh, and wrapping up our playoff preview, you heard from ESPN's Tim McManus on the latest on some key injuries for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, he's got a dislocated finger sustained last Sunday, only threw one throw in practice this week. Then also for the Eagles, star receiver A.J. Brown, he's still dealing with a knee injury he sustained against the Giants that same week as Hurts. Two Eagles coming back, I should say, for Philadelphia include receiver Devontae Smith and cornerback Darius Slay. Going to be important for them. They'll be looking to beat your boy Baker Mayfield's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers get to host the Eagles. Got that game kicking off on Monday evening at 7:20.
And it still feels like the Eagles, man, they were so dominant. Almost feels like they're sandbagging. Of course, I wouldn't expect Hurt to put stress on the finger during the week. That would be pointless. He knows how to throw a football. But, yeah, my boy Baker, never been a Tampa Bay fan, maybe when Josh Freeman was there. But I'll be going Bucks. Be a nice Monday night game.
Yeah, it's fun. It should be a pretty intriguing one anyway. Just with the way the Eagles have been struggling, there's some rumblings that if the Eagles get blown out the way they have the past few weeks of the regular season, Nick Sirianni could be looking for a new job. Adam Schefter keeps hinting that there's a potential NFC team that wants to hire Bill Belichick. The only reason you wouldn't make that move is if you're in the playoffs still with your head coach, or they want to interview Belichick, I should say. I don't know. Maybe the Eagles get blown out and we see Bill Belichick ended up going and coaching in Philadelphia.
And that's how cutthroat the league is. You look at what Sirianni's done the past few years. Who were the Eagles a few years ago? And now all of a sudden they've been the powerhouse until the last 6 weeks.
Depending on how many years back you go, they were someone, because you had Doug Peterson as the head coach. You had Carson Wentz. They've gone through two pretty quick rebuilds in quick order. The Eagles kind of making the rest of the league jealous with how quickly they were able to find two quarterbacks, take them to the Super Bowl. Obviously, coming up short with Jalen Hurts. Didn't have a Nick Foles there to win the big game for him. That game, though, like I said, kicks off at 7 on Monday on ESPN. And wrapping up our sounds of the past 24 hours, you heard from ESPN's Mike Rice talking about the new head coach of the New England Patriots, Gerard Mayo, a plan that they had. I brought his name up a few weeks ago on Sports Day because I heard there's some rumblings that they really like him as a head coaching candidate. They've kind of been grooming him. He was their linebackers coach. He had a clause in his contract, I believe, has come out now that kind of said, yeah, once Belichick retires, you're going to be swept up, assuming everything's still in place. Looking like it does. He was with the New England Patriots from 2008 to 2015, a linebacker there, won a few titles with New England. Now going to be looking to steer the ship. Big news from New England, though. They are also hiring a new GM, not letting Mayo have that same roster freedom that Bill Belichick had in New England.
And if probably encourage you to go find the little presser they had yesterday with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick. Belichick pressers are always awkward because he doesn't talk. This one was super awkward, whereas it's like, rah, 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 and then he got shooed off. Kind of fitting because I don't like him.
Never much long for words, Bill Belichick, so probably wouldn't have had much more to say anyway. That does wrap up our sounds of the past 24 hours. Go ahead and stick around. We'll have interviews with the assistant coaches coming in here for the Barton men's basketball team on Sports Day. Heading your way right after this on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Attention high school juniors, explore your career paths at Barton Community College's Junior Day on February 14th. This fun and free day features an on-campus tour, giveaways, yard games, pizza, and did we mention $3,000 in scholarships will be up for grabs. Learn about a variety of career paths, some of which can get you into the workforce and making money in just one semester. Sign up online now through February 1st at juniorday.bartoncccc.edu.
Welcome back into 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM for Sports Day. It's Aaron Clark filling in for Steve Webster here, sitting across from the assistant coaches for the Cougar basketball men's team, Austin and Tyson Downing. Fellas, glad you could both join me here today. Excited to have you into the studio.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
So we're just going to get right into talking about some Barton basketball. I'm excited to get your guys' perspectives. We've heard from Coach Combs all year. He always brings in some excellent content, but just getting some new perspectives on what Barton basketball is and what makes it hum. It's going to be pretty fun. Austin, going to start with you. Just give us a little rundown of what some of your responsibilities are with the team and how you go about doing them.
I think my responsibilities with the guys are just trying to, keep them together as much as possible, being that, guy that they can come in and talk to, watch film with, things like that. And then I love player development, so, working out the guys and, helping them get extra shots up and things like that, it's kind of my role. And then, doing whatever else is asked of me as coach, whether that's film breakdown, whether that's doing this at practice or, handling meals and things like that. So, the good thing about working for him is he lets us be hands-on and, lets us, do a lot of things. So get to learn a lot, and it's real good. So. And
Tyson, same question to you. What do you do to help the Barton basketball team be so successful?
Right now I'm working actually with both teams, so it's been kind of fun and interesting working with both the women's and the men's. As far as the role, I do a little bit of everything, just wherever I can fill in, as far as doing player development for both sides of the teams, looking at scouts, watching games, a little bit of everything. So I've enjoyed it so far, especially being a volunteer. I'm just glad I was able to come on, and especially playing for Coach Coombs as well. It's just an honor to be beside him and just learn how his brain works. So it's been fun.
Fun to get around it. I had noticed you pulling some double duty there for the men and women's team. Yes, how did that come about, and how does that impact your experience getting to coach for both of them?
The experience it's been great. You learn both sides as far as how both teams operate. Look, obviously they're both going to be different a little bit as far as the speed of the game, just running different plays. So I can't really just put it down to one word, but they've both gave me an insight on how to coach, just tone of voice, expectation levels, being able to bring both cultures together and make sure it has a good impact.
Sounds like it could definitely be a handful, but you've been doing it very well. Pivoting back to a little more focusing on the Barton men's side, though, Austin, tell me a little bit about what you've seen here going into 2024, maybe some of the changes that you made from 2023. A very good season. I believe you've wrapped up 2023 at 12-1. What did you see in 2023 that you wanted to improve on in 2024, though?
I think just like our execution, offensively, it can always be better. We want to have some better spacing. We want to, shoot it a little better and things like that. But I feel like every coach is going to say that, no one's going to shoot 100%. So until then, you got to improve, right? So I think just that on the offensive side, defensively, our intensity, consistency with being very intense on the defensive end. I think when we want to, we guard really well. But I also think that we have times where we don't guard as well. And I think, that's what, when teams go on runs, or that's what gets you beat, which cost us in that Cali game. So I think just improving on the defensive end day by day, and then offensively continue to trust each other and create for one another, and just see where it takes us. So.
Taking a look at some of the defensive effort for your team, recently Cooper Jackson moved into third all-time on the Barton Steals record with 150. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen from Cooper this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Cooper a while. I actually got to coach him in high school as well, and so I've kind of been around him for a while, and he's a guy that, he'll make you angry sometimes on the defensive end because he likes to gamble and things like that, but you kind of just got to let him be him, and so I think the other guys feed off of that as well. I think his energy defensively, is contagious, and it allows a lot of our other guys to really step up and want to guard as well. And so I just think if he can continue to be him, I think our defense can be in good hands.
And what is having a guy like, because obviously Cooper, very capable of being an on-ball defender, taking some of those top-tier assignments, but Miles Thompson, rather. Yeah. He's a very capable defender as well. He's put up some nice performances. What does having two kind of good defenders like that do for your team?
Yeah, good thing with Miles, he's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's been through a lot. I think he, is finally reached that point to where he's, he had a big summer, and he was very locked in with that. And I think it's just translating all the hard work he put in, before the season started, preseason, things like that. And so, with Miles, man, like you said, just being able to big body down there, walling up, contesting shots, changing shots, is really big as well because, he's very mobile. He can switch out on some guards here and there and contain them. And so when you got a big man that can do that, it helps you out a lot defensively. So we just hope that they both continue to do what they do, and, hopefully it continues for the rest of the year.
And now, Tyson, talking about a big man who can do a lot for you guys, we've seen a lot from LeJay Jones this year. Tell me a little bit about, are you surprised to see this kind of production from him, or was this kind of expected coming into the year?
No, I think during preseason he stepped into that role. He always said he wanted to contain just the energy within the team, make sure everybody's rising to the occasion, and I feel like he set the standard during preseason. He wants to have a high motor. He wants to make sure everybody has energy, and I think he's taken that upon himself with the leadership role and making sure everybody's playing their best, doing their job, doing what is asked from coach, and being very coachable.
I think he's a great example of it, but just seems like some great team chemistry all around. He's been finishing off some lobs and some dunks. What goes into building that team chemistry and getting it to a point where there's that level of trust that you can throw a ball up at the rim and, well, LeJay is going to come down and slam it home?
Yeah, I think it comes with practice. Our practice schedule is set up very, very good for the guys. They execute stuff in practice as well as doing individual workouts. They get in together, usually as a team, sometimes just 2 or 3, sometimes 4 or 5. So I think they use that time to build that chemistry as well, not only in practice, and then it all translates to the game. They have their own lingo. They learn how to read each other's eyes, all that stuff. So I think it's very important for them to take that time outside of practice on their own time, which really makes the great player.
And so now there's a specific play I want to get both of you guys' opinions on from this last game against Garden City. Mosey Downing Rivers comes down, gets a steal near the baseline. He's sitting on his keister, as Cole Rife says, and he has the defender full pressed up on him. He throws the pass on the money to Ring Malith. Malith able to go up, score it with 2 hands. First, going to ask Tyson, tell me a little bit about what Mosey does to your team and that kind of spark plug and just what he brings for the Cougars.
Yeah, his IQ is contagious. Once he starts making plays, other players start learning how to read what he's looking for, how to move to the certain spots. He's very good at teaching them as well, showing them, hey, this is what I was seeing. Next time, let's do that. So, like I said, as well as he's coachable, he also learns how to translate that to other players and coaches them as well. So he's a very good leader on that aspect. And like I said, it's very contagious, and everybody gets involved. Everybody has bigger energy, and then, the whole floor spread open, wide open for everybody. So
absolutely. And so, Austin, taking a look at that same play, some of the passes we've seen from Mosey this year, they just keep getting more and more impressive. What goes into him being able to launch those precision passes and just get them right on the money seemingly whenever he wants?
Yeah, I think Mosey, he's played a lot of basketball at, some high levels, and, he's been around it his entire life. And so I just think, his IQ, like Tyson said, is just really high. And so I think sometimes it's just a feel. He knows his teammates. He knows who wants to run out this way, or he knows who likes to, take those extra steps and sprint wide or just run straight down the floor. So like we said, that comes down to chemistry and just knowing your teammate. And at the end of the day, Ring doesn't make Mose look good if Ring doesn't catch that pass. So at the end of the day, Mose needs to thank Ring as well for catching it and dunking the ball. So, but with Mose, man, he's going to make good passes. That's what he likes to do, is pass the ball. And so let's just hope, he has more assists than turnovers. So.
And I think it was a season high, at least, in scoring for Ring Malith, a 20-point night for him. He's been doing very well this season. He gets pretty active on the defensive end as well. Austin, can you tell me a little bit about what Ring brings to the team?
Yeah, Ring's been a guy that, we've said as a staff all year that he's going to be due for a breakout game, because he's a kid, he works, he's in the gym a lot. And so sometimes, it's frustrating when you see a kid like that put time in the gym and, and maybe just get to the game and, he's not having his moment at the time, but he's been well with, handling that and, staying in the gym and staying consistent with his workouts outside of practice time or outside of scheduled, stuff that we have for him. And so, I think that's just his hard work paying off, and I just think now that he's had that breakout game, I'm excited for him for the rest of the year and kind of just see how it can help him individually and with his recruitment and also just help our team as well. So.
All right, fellas, another big game here coming up in the Jayhawk Conference this Saturday. You're hosting Dodge City. Austin, tell me a little bit about what you've seen from the Conquistadors so far.
Yeah, they got some real scrappy guards. They got some athletic bigs that play super, super hard, and so we know in any Jayhawk game, if you don't come ready to play, it can be a long night. So, we got to hope, our guys come in and we got to have a good practice today and prepare. We're going to watch some film and things like that. And so we just got to know, what each one of them want to do and then hopefully contain them and see what tomorrow brings.
All right, and Tyson, same question to you. What are you hoping to see the Cougars do tomorrow against Dodge City?
I think our main objective is just do our job, do what got us here, execute plays, run the floor, and play with high energy, and make sure we know our scout. That's just the most important thing. Know everybody's tendencies on the other team, try to contain them as much as we can and limit their runs. But like you said, you can expect that in the Jayhawk Conference. It's high competition and high energy, so it should be a great game on both ends.
That is assistant coaches for the Barton basketball teams, Tyson and Austin Downing. Excited to have you on today, fellas. Thanks for joining me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll have more Sports Day coming your way right after this.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows that A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Love your phone but tired of your current provider? Bring your device to Nextech Wireless and experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansans. For a limited time, get 4 lines with unlimited data for $100. Have questions? Call or text our local customer care team at 877-621-2600. Nextech Wireless. Home on the range.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios. It's Friday, and that means game day in the Golden Belt. To help us prime the pump, Sports Day brings you Sunflower Sports Solutions, Connor Nickel.
Welcome on into 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM for Sports Day. It's Aaron Clark filling in for Steve Webster here. Sitting down with the one and only Connor Nickel from Sunflower Sports Solutions. Connor, how are we doing on this frigid Friday?
Yeah, it is. It is very, very cold out. There's been a lot of games scheduled. I was at the LSTMP game last night. I know Mike Corson was also there too, and it took a long time to drive home. There was snow, wind. Definitely a very, very cold night for sure.
It's kind of fun. We got some games rescheduled now, postponed from earlier this week. Not very often you see games get canceled like that, but weather permitting, or I guess weather not permitting, we had to swing it around. But what can you tell me that you saw last night? You said what game were at last night?
Certainly, LS and TMP, the MCL tournament starts Saturday for most teams. So they had a kind of a rare Thursday night game last night. The LS girls won. They won by 10. And then TMP boys, they pulled away in the end. I think they won by 11. But they had a freshman, Schmeiler boy, who had 26 points, made 5 threes. He's been a kid. His dad was a phenomenal Hayes High athlete in the 90s. They actually owned the Pit, which is the indoor training facility that's well known in Hayes. And he had a huge game. And so, he shot the ball great. TMP and Ellis, I think, combined multiple times in the night, had 4 freshmen on the floor. And so both teams are very, very young. But it was a rare Thursday game last night.
When we'll just use that as an opportunity to kind of dive into what you saw this week. Prior to this, obviously the game I want to hear your opinion on, that Great Bend versus Garden City matchup where the Panthers came up just short on the boys' side, 57-56 against Garden City. Panther boys, they're 6-2 now, but you got the chance to kind of look into that Great Bend Garden game. Obviously, I was there watching it, but tell me what you saw in that Buffaloes versus Panther matchup.
Yeah, obviously, I think Garden City at half is up 8. They're leading, I think, by 6 points. I know by 4 at one point, and then Garden City scores twice. Great Bend scores twice to tie it. And then Great Bend kind of fouled there in the last 20 seconds to force Garden City just kind of inbound the ball and just kind of halt everything. Garden City scores with, I think, 8 seconds to go, but they call off the shot. They say the foul was pre-shot. And then, of course, they make the foul shot, and then, Great Bend comes down. They try to kind of make that pass back out of the short corner area, baseline area, and then, they don't get up a shot. Garden City steals it and wins. I think this is a fairly significant upset. I mean, I thought that Great Bend was going to be a lot better. But, Garden City, obviously, new coach, graduated, multiple key players. But when you're going to go on the road, being down early, being down at half against a team that is thinking upset, thinking then this would be a huge win for our season, I just think when you're on the road, you've got to come out and play the first quarter really, really strong. That was the same thing going back to the Ellis TMP game last night. TMP girls are up 8-4, and then Ellis went on a 20-2 run that just really changed things, and they led by 13 at a half, and that's just hard. That's just hard to do on the road when you're trailing. So, hopefully Great Bend can take it away of saying, hey, no matter what, we've got to come in and play really, really well, and allowing 37 points in the first half, no matter who the opponent is, it's going to be really challenging to come back from.
Absolutely. And I was curious, did you see Emilio Zunt in that game for Garden City? He was electric. Maybe not the best shooting night, but just seemed like every time the Panthers had a little bit of momentum going their way, Zunt was able to come back and get a big shot or get a steal some way. I thought it was a very good game from the Garden City point guard.
Yeah, I thought he played really, really well. And I thought that Great Bend played hard, but I think that Garden City played harder. I didn't watch the entire game, but I watched a good chunk of it. And that's an expression that I use with my teams I coach, and just an expression that I've seen other coaches use too. It's not that one team's not playing hard and the other team is playing hard. It's which team is playing harder. And a lot of those key moments, I felt like the Garden City point guard in particular, he was able to get past great Bend players. He was able to drive in. He was just able to make stuff happen. And Garden City, I felt, played harder in, again, the instances I saw in the game, and they were able to play quicker, too. And that proved to get a huge win for them.
And taking it over onto the Lady Panther side, they pick up a 44-34 win over Garden last Friday. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen from the Lady Panthers so far this year.
Yeah, I think that this was going to be honestly a really good team. Something I go back to last year for them is, they just suffered a lot of close losses. And, I actually had picked them to be a potential breakout team last year, and they weren't able to necessarily do that. 6-2 this year. I believe last year was 7 wins. So obviously they've come, 7 wins last year. So they've already come a long way. Coach Beck, I think, does a really good job. They face Hutch tonight, but you just kind of look through their schedule, and they're 3-0 right now in games by 10 points or fewer. And last year they lost a lot of these types of games, and they've been able to win low-scoring games. They've been able to win some higher-scoring games too. But the thing is that so much of basketball is those games within 10 points, and there is certainly those games within 5 or 6 points. And so far, they've been able to win those contests. I thought that Bueller for them was a really nice win. That was a 5-point win, and you go back to previous years, I don't know necessarily if they win games like that. And to win against Garden City, last year they had fallen to Garden City by 7-9. This year they win by 10. So again, flipping some of those results from last season has been crucial. Their schedule is going to be challenging here coming up. You're going to be at Hayes in 2 weeks. You're going to face Hutch tonight. But I think that the arrow for Great Bend girls with a lot of experience, obviously the Spray girl is probably going to be an all-state caliber kid. That arrow is pointing up, which is really, really good.
It's a lot of fun being involved with Great Bend High sports right now, just all around. You hit on it a little bit at the beginning of there, but Great Bend taking on the Hutchinson Salthawks tonight. What can you tell me about both the boys and girls team that's going to be coming to the Panther Fieldhouse tonight? What can the Panther faithful expect to see?
Yeah, certainly. So, Hutch girls, they've got experience in several key ways. Grace Posh, who is a junior, she's been their point guard. She has started for multiple years in the fall, but it's really the story with Hutch girls is who is not there. So Aaliyah Green transferred to Andover after last year, and many people, whether it be volleyball or basketball, consider her to be a high-level Division II, Division I player. And, Andover girls right now are probably the best girls team in Kansas. Certainly the best team, say, west of the Kansas City area. And Green has really helped elevate that program that, again, already has 2 Division I players. Hutch is 4-2 this year. They've got a sophomore, Clara Natchez, who has been a really good player. They've got some tall posts. Hutch has been a 4-2 team this year. I think if they had Green, you're looking at even a much stronger team. They were a 16-6 team last year, and Green led their team in scoring. She averaged just a tick under 15 points per game, 9 boards. And of course, she has since transferred schools. And then Josie McLean, averaged 7 assists a contest last year. She has graduated as well. But again, Posh, their junior, averaged over 10 points a game last year. Again, a really nice, experienced player in multiple sports. So I still think Hutch is a very strong team, but if they had Green, they would have been really, really good. Hutchinson boys, I think have been off to a nice start as well too. And again, can Great Bend bounce back after that tough loss of last Friday? Hutch boys, I think, are 5-1 this season. That was a program that had struggled for a number of years. Miles Thompson, part of the Barton program now, has helped kind of turn things around, and this has been a much stronger Hutch team the last 2 or 3 years.
Miles Thompson is actually coming off of a career high out at Barton at Garden City on Wednesday. He scored 23. Hopefully not a sign of things to come tonight for the Panthers take on Hutchinson at the Panther Fieldhouse. Connor, one last thing in the hoop side that I want to get your take on. A lot of mid-season tournaments are getting ready to knock off or getting ready to start off here soon. Tell me your impressions of some of these tournaments, especially that MCL one coming up here.
Yeah, the MCL this year is one of the earlier first tournaments to start. They'll actually begin their games on Saturday. Hoxie girls have really established themselves as the top team in that league. Obviously, Smith Center is really good too. You would like to, this could be Hoxie and Smith Center in the championship a week from tomorrow. Hoxie has beaten Colby now, and Colby is a very up-and-coming team in 3A, 4A. I think a lot of people are circling Hoxie girls as a team in 2A that could win a state championship this year. On the boys' side, Norton boys have been off to a nice start. They had the great run in the fall that certainly the Great Bend area was certainly aware of, and then playing Hoisington and Jones and Hauser, who are the quarterback in their end, are their best players this season. So Norton boys have gotten off to a really, really impressive start. I think Hill City, again, under Keith Riley, who's been there for 58 years, an incredible number. Hill City's lost one game. He's got a lot of talent. They shoot the ball extremely well. So, the MCL tournament is definitely going to be one to watch. I think as we progress through the month, I think Hoisington's tournament is going to be really interesting. I think St. John's tournament too. I'm going to hopefully get out and see several games. But I love the midseason tournaments because A, it's like a state tournament. You're generally playing 3 games in 4 days type of thing, and B, you get to see a lot of teams that you wouldn't normally see, and you don't normally see them and you're seeing them on a non-home and road floor. You're playing on somebody else's floor, so it's a very even matchup. So I always love this time because, again, you get to see a lot of great basketball.
That is Sunflower Sports Solutions. Connor Nichols, a wealth of knowledge on basketball. We'll have a little bit of a wrestling chat coming up with Connor right here on Sports Day after this. Stick around. More Sports Day coming your way on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM right after this.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
welcome back into 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. It's more Sports Day coming your way. It's Aaron Clark filling in for Steve Webster, reminding everyone that Sports Day is brought to you today by Nextech Wireless. Experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansas, as well as by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend, both proud sponsors of Sports Day. Connor Nickel here of Sunflower Sports Solutions joining me on the broadcast. Just had some talking about high school basketball. Now going to pivot, looking at some high school wrestling. Been a fun season so far. Connor, tell me some of your early impressions from the wrestling season so far this year.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of hit on the Hoisington tournament. So this is the Cardinal girls round robin, and Plainville won this tournament. They beat Hoisington by 3 points. And so we're looking at this. I mean, Plainville has not necessarily been a 3-2-1A contender. But they have done an amazing job building their girls wrestling program. They actually have more girls wrestlers out than basketball players. They've made it an extremely fun experience. Their youth program is really, really good. Talked to some Plainville parents earlier this year, and they said, we feel like we could be a top 3 team. I think that Rossville and Chanute right now, definitely, Chanute won 4-1A girls last year. They're certainly a strong favorite again. Rossville has 3 elite girls. And obviously, Hoisington has been really good. The last several years, Pratt's been really, really good. And this is a tournament that Hoisington normally wins. And I think that Hoisington did certainly fine. But for Plainville to beat them by 3, I think that is a mark of just how far Plainville's come. So for those Hoisington fans out there, I think that Plainville's definitely going to be a strong, strong team. I wanted to pinpoint some of the Hoisington girls who have done well here. You've got obviously Jada Bailey. She was 6th at 110. Colas at 125 was fourth. The Jones girl was now 24-3 at 130. she was obviously a strong, state contender last year to win all of her matches by fall, and all of them in the first period except one. Jones, I think, is going to be a very, very strong state contender. Brewer at 140, she takes 4th, but if you look at it, she wins 2 of her matches by fall, and then loses on the front side to people who have taken 1st and 2nd place. Kaden Haig from Ellis beat her in the championship bracket, and obviously Kaden Haig has finished 1st and 2nd at state. So they've, and then Orozco at 145 takes 3rd. Really a nice tournament. Multiple wins by fall, and then Peyton Schneider, she goes 2-1 and takes 2nd at 155. Colas was 3rd as well too, and then Graves at 170, she takes 1st. So really, really impressive run there for her. And I think obviously Hoisington has had a really nice girls program for a while, and Tally Wycombe obviously had graduated, but they've got a lot of depth at several weights. I think that Hoisington in 4-1A should definitely be a top 10 team again.
I'm kind of thinking covering local, regional area state wrestling is going to be pretty fun this year. There's a lot of talented wrestlers on both the boys and girls sides for a couple of the area schools. Hoisington having a pretty good season. I know they've still got another Ball brother rolling around on the boys side, right?
Yeah, certainly. You look at the boys side as well, and they had their boys tournament too here, and I think that what Josiah Ball has continually done has been really impressive for the Hoisington boys. And I wanted to bring up something else too. You look at right now, Ball at the Larned round robin. He wins his first 2 matches, get quick falls, and then of course he got hurt at the 5:16 mark against the Holcomb kid. The Holcomb kid was 15-2 after that match. So, obviously, Ball does not lose much. We're hoping that, obviously, as we move forward in the season, that he's healthy and can certainly go. And then you look at Beaver at 144. Hill City is at that round of the robin, and Beaver competed against Father Roar from Hill City, who's really, really good. Beaver went 3-2 with that meet, and then Talon Morales, he goes 3-1 in that bracket, and then Kraft, Kraft at 175. So Darren Kraft, obviously the great fullback for Hoisington in the fall, he faces Aiden Amrine in the championship. Now, Amrine for Hill City this year is 24-0. And I got a note the other day that he is close to setting the all-time Kansas record for career falls. And, he crashed fairly quickly in that match. But, Aiden Amrine, the defending state champion. Again, Hoisington, they're winning a lot of matches, and if they're taking losses, it's to really, really good kids. You certainly do hope as we move forward that Ball is healthy and he can come back and can wrestle for a state championship, because he is really, really good.
And so looking at the Great Bend wrestlers now, the Great Bend boys, they're ranked second in 5A. They've got 7 wrestlers ranked. The Great Bend girls, they're 5th in 5A with 4 wrestlers ranked. What have you seen from Panther Wrestling so far this year, Connor?
Yeah, I think the next couple of weeks are going to tell a lot. But I'll say this just overall. Great Bend has put themselves in a fantastic position on both sides. Mentioned this past week, the WAC girls for all five teams is really, really good, and this is the reason why you see the WAC perform so well at state, because they're so battle tested within their league. So I think we're going to get a better read here out of the next 2 weeks. I always kind of use these weeks 2 and week 3 and this week. Now everyone's set with their weights. Everyone's back from Christmas. Everyone's it's in the full go mode. So I'm really interested to see how this weekend goes and next weekend goes for Great Bend. Then we can really kind of crystallize where they stand.
All right, Connor, heading into this weekend, a big one for basketball and wrestling. Tell me, what are you looking forward to watching this season or this weekend, and what results are you looking forward to?
Yeah, the Hoisington Halstead girls game tonight. I'm hoping to be there, weather pending. Should be a fantastic matchup. Those have been 2 teams that I think are combined 11-2 this year. Halstead's got both of the Schutte girls who play for their dad. Dominic Schutte is a Ottawa commit. Obviously, Hoisington took that close loss to Beloit. It should be a fantastic game. It's going to be a big barometer test to see who could be maybe a top 10 team in 3A at this point.
That is Connor Nichols, Sunflower Sports Solutions. Connor, thanks for joining me today. Always a fun getting to talk to you. Just a whole host of knowledge. Tell me, where can people find more of your work?
Certainly, sunflowersportssolutions.com. I'm also at Twitter at CNICHOLL Hayes, HAYS.
It's Connor Nichols, best in the business. Thanks for joining me today, Connor.
It's certainly, Aaron. As always, sir, appreciate it.
More Sports Day right after this on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Welcome back into 1590 KVGB at 95.5 FM, wrapping up Sports Day. It's Aaron Clark with Mike Corson wrapping up the show. Corson, you got a little something for the fans.
Yeah, we said 22 over-under on the Chiefs. They actually have it at 44, but hate to end the week on a sad note, but passing of legendary coach Jack Bowman yesterday, Hall of Famer across the board and several things. Big-time Ellenwood and Panther coach, the invite's named after him. Rarely has a coach touched so many lives, so it's...
You don't want to end on a sad note, but it doesn't have to be a sad note. Bowman reached out. He touched a lot of people's lives, a lot of track athletes over the year. He's an icon in the community, and he's one that will sorely be missed.
Yeah, and we've got the invite named after him. Lashley's built that up. Great thing to be named in his honor.
And that is going to wrap our show up. Tune in next week when Steve Webster comes back for Sports Day here Monday through Friday on 5:1590 KV.